in the league. Some probably 10 quarterback in this league. Andy Dalton, if you go back and look at his body of work in 2015, was having a brilliant season before he threw the ill-advised pass at the goal line. It was intercepted by a Steeler defensive lineman. He tried to make the tackle. He broke his thumb. And then we find ourselves in the postseason with A.J. McCarron. Now, full disclosure, I grew up in Cincinnati. Okay, I have a little bit of a Bengals bias. Grew up watching Kenny Anderson.
Yeah, Kenny Anderson sitting right here now.
Isaac Curtis and Pete Johnson. Anyway, I digress. Andy Dalton was having a fantastic year. 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. His quarterback rating was 106. I looked at the Bengals last year, and while I may not have picked them to be the team that was going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, I thought I could make a really strong argument for them being the most complete team, top to bottom, offense and defense. They've lost some key components. Mohamed Sanu moved on via free agency to Atlanta. They lost Marvin Jones to Detroit. Tyler Eifert's got to come back from the surgery on his ankle. Their defense was the second best scoring defense in the league last year. This is a really good team, top to bottom. I think I saw Andy Dalton take some strides last year in the regular season. Unfortunately, he didn't get an opportunity to participate in the postseason. He's 28. This is where we find out really how good a quarterback can be. You've seen all that defenses have to offer at this point. Can Andy take that next step? They've been to the postseason 5 straight years. They've been bounced in the first round in 5 straight years. I think this is the year that they actually win a postseason game. Look, I like the Steelers as well.
We've said that for a while, haven't we?
I know. This is the year he gets over the top and
do the icky shuffle. Come on, you're friends. Do the icky shuffle.
I can't do the icky shuffle. No, look, I'm not being a homer here. They were 12-4 last year. They were the division champ.
Yeah.
I mean, I take nothing away from the Steelers. The Steelers are an outstanding football team, arguably the best offense in the league, an improving defense. I believe they were a top 5 or 6 scoring defense in the league last year as well. This is going to be a dogfight in the AFC North. But I think this is finally the year the Bengals get over the hump.
And yet a coaching change on that side with Jackson going over to the Browns.
They lose their offensive coordinator.
Will that affect the way that this offense clicks?
Yeah, Ken Zampese steps in and is now the offensive coordinator, so there's some familiarity there as well. I thought we saw Andy Dalton take a step forward. It's a tale of 2 seasons with the Bengals every year, the regular season and the postseason. And I can't defend their performance in the post. They had the Steelers beat. They lost their composure. They made mistakes. Ultimately, they did not advance. Maybe they learned from that. But I'm expecting another good year from Andy Dalton.
You mentioned Hugh Jackson. He's got his hands full with trying to get RG3's career back. That's going to be interesting to see how they do. Can Joe Flacco and the Ravens bounce back as well? They had a very down year.
Yeah, they got to get healthy. 20 of their players visited injured reserve last year. Look, I think it's going to be one of the most competitive divisions, at least at the top, in all of the AFC, if not all of the NFL. Steelers-Bengals, and I think both of these teams will participate in the playoffs. I do believe I'm giving the hometown team a little bit of a nudge here and an edge. I think they finally get their first playoff win under Marvin Lewis.
Okay, well, we will see how that shakes out. For me personally, I'm excited to watch Antonio Brown, one of the most exciting players in the league. When you talk about that division, you cannot get away from him and what he's capable of doing with the Steelers.
I'm not getting burned again if Antonio Brown is on the board for my fantasy.
Take him.
I know you don't care.
Take him.
I'm taking him.
Okay.
Too many of my leagues, I got cost because I didn't draft a wide receiver that early, and I could have had him, especially in a PPR league. Matthew Berry, I'm not making that mistake this year.
Don't forget, they lose Martavis Bryant to suspension, and they lose
for a full year.
They lose Heath Miller to retirement.
Yeah,
so there are
broken.
Yeah, there are a couple of components that they have to replace, but this is as exciting an offense at Pittsburgh as there is in the league.
And defense, pass rush, one of the best in the league.
Yep.
Coming up, we will reveal the results to our Twitter poll from earlier in the show. We asked you, is Tim Duncan the best player to be drafted in the 90s? Last chance for you to weigh in. Those results